I am Anirudh and I'm a PhD student in Clemson University. I've been involved with SAE since my undergrad, but that was in the form of Formula student, the FSAE events, and slowly building up to my first master's in thermal engineering. A lot of focus was on the literature that was available from like SAE Mobilis. And so that was sort of key in sort of exposing me to, all the literature and the research work that is out there. I then moved to Clemson University, where I first did my master's in automotive engineering. And once I completed my master's, I started my PhD in automotive engineering, specifically in the domain of advanced powertrains. Here I am at SAE World Congress 2024, presenting my first paper in WCX. That's my journey with SAE. I think it's been pretty integral to the automotive field. And given that from my undergrad to now my PhD, my journey has been intertwined just with automotive engineering and around its different fields. Like SAE is pretty much central to all that story. When I joined Clemson for my master's program, it started with developing an off-road prototype vehicle. It became fairly clear there that in the domain of, say, tracked vehicles that we're looking at, slowly everything was getting electrified. You have benefits of the vehicle being able to move better. You have benefits of the fact that you can provide auxiliary power to any scenario. So specifically, this vehicle was designed as a rescue vehicle. So it's a rescue vehicle that is autonomous, and it's capable of going to a site. Maybe you have a natural disaster, maybe the Texas snowstorm back in 2019. It's capable of offloading power and powering a whole hospital and helping first responders and all that. When we did the development of this vehicle, it was very clear that even in this domain, it's getting electrified because electrified alternatives do provide significant advantages over the conventional, ICE powered vehicles. That slowly flowed into my research with respect to hybrid vehicles. And a key component in the hybrid vehicle is your battery, because your battery, is not as hot as, say, the IC engine. It's quite difficult to cool the battery or warm it up based on the scenario it's in. So it's a really, really sweet research field where still a lot can be done to ensure that this direction of sustainable mobility is equally backed with aspects that we don't lose from the IC engine counterparts. When we want to translate everything equitably down to sustainable mobility, targeting all the aspects of not losing the features of being able to run when you're very cold or very hot, being able to prolong battery life, reduce the cost of batteries to the end user of these vehicles, all become important. And that's exactly where I want to be, and that's where I want to be doing my research at this point. The intention of this work is to basically improve thermal management. So as far as industry goes, the takeaway could be that these tools can help them construct such an optimal controller based on the work that we've done. So they don't have to repeat all that. You look at our results, look at how valid they are to your scenario, and adopt some of these results in your own platforms. So while everything is becoming electrified, autonomy is also something that's growing. We have so many new features with assists and safety aspects in your newer vehicles. Harnessing that information to make better decisions that can affect how much mileage or how much range you get on your vehicle is key. And that's exactly where our research falls. The paper that I presented in WCX 2024 is titled Energy Aware Predictive Control for the Battery Thermal Management System in an Autonomous Vehicle. Although this is specifically focused on the off-road prototype that we developed in Clemson University, we've tried to generalize the results so that it's useful for designers. One of the simpler takeaways from this paper is that the amount of energy that you spend in, say, cooling a battery or warming it up really depends on the kind of control strategy that you have. And sometimes if you don't manage it well, you end up consuming a lot of power. So we've constructed, say, an optimal control framework that now allows you to remove the controller out of the equation. So it's very similar to you have a really good race car driver and you have 3 cars and you want to know which car is the best. So you can sort of solve the problem decently by using the same driver who has a very good skill set amongst these 3 vehicles to then say which vehicle is better and how is it better. So we do the same thing. You have thermal management, you have energy involved because you're running your fans and pumps and whatnot to keep the system cool or warm. But then you have this intermediary controller. So since we formulated an optimal controller, it allows us to remove that from the equation And now what we tell designers is that, look, if you were designing a vehicle and you were swapping between different battery packs because of your various requirements, you ended up with battery pack A and you spent maybe 6 hours doing like a very, very detailed analysis and simulation on how much power do you actually spend in cooling. Using the result that we've got, you don't need to repeat that simulation for a different battery pack. You could simply use the rule of thumb that we've developed and estimate how much your cooling load changes, how much energy you're spending for cooling changes. So the aim here is to develop tools in research that definitely push the frontier in research. But at the end of the day, we also try to cover the gap between how research can actually be useful for the end users who are trying to develop these next generation vehicles. I really like the way the publishing process took place, where yes, there were deadlines and we published our abstract and uploaded it to the website, and we received really constructive reviews. It sort of made very clear sense that the work that we published has arrived at the correct place to get critiqued by the people who know what's happening in the industry. So the reviews we got allowed us to understand the current perspectives in the industry and accordingly tailor our work so that it better suits, at the end of the day, the industry. In my opinion, WCX is one of the closest platforms that you can get to the industry.